Hello, my friend. Before I say anything else, I want you to do something. Right now, in this moment, think of a simple sentence. Something like, I'm tired today. Now, did you think it in English first? Or did you think it in your own language first? And then translate it. If you translated it, you are not alone. And more importantly, that is exactly times what we are going to talk about today. Because here is something that most English teachers will never tell you. The reason you still cannot speak English fluently is not your vocabulary. It is not your grammar. It is not even your accent. It is the way your brain is wired times right now. Your brain is doing something very specific every time you try to speak English. Something automatic. Something invisible. And until you understand what times it is doing, and times why, nothing will change. Stay with me. Because by the end of this episode, you will understand your own brain in a completely new way. And you will know exactly what to do about it. Let me ask you something honest. How long have you been learning English? 1 year? 3 years? Maybe more. And during that time, you studied. You memorized vocabulary lists. You practiced grammar. You watched videos. You read articles. Maybe you even passed an exam. And yet, when someone speaks to you in English, your mind goes quiet. Not because you do not know the words, but because something inside you freezes. That feeling, that blank wall inside your head. That moment where you times know times the answer, but cannot times say times it. That is not a language problem. That is a brain problem. And I mean that in the most helpful way possible. Because if it were a language problem, more study would fix it. But you have already studied, and the freeze still comes. So clearly, studying alone is not enough. Here is what is actually happening inside your head. Right now, when you try to think in English, your brain takes a long journey. You have a thought in your mind. Your brain grabs that thought in your native language. Then it travels to a translation center. Then it searches for the English words. Then it checks the grammar. Then maybe it lets you speak. By the time all of that happens, the moment is gone. The conversation moved forward. The other person is already waiting. And you feel behind. Always one step behind. Does that sound familiar? I know it does. Because almost every English learner on this planet goes through the exact same thing. And the reason is simple. Your brain was never taught to think directly in English. It was taught to translate, and translation is the enemy of fluency. I want to tell you about someone. Her name is Maya. Maya is 27 years old. She grew up in a small city. She studied English in school for 6 years. She knows hundreds of words. She can read an English article and understand most of it. She can write a decent email to her boss. But speaking is a completely different world for Maya. Every time she has to speak English, something strange happens. She opens her mouth. The first word comes out. Then silence. Not because she is shy, not because she does not know the words, but because her brain is working so hard behind the scenes that her mouth simply cannot keep up. One day, Maya got a new job. An international company. Exciting, modern, a big opportunity. Her first week went well. She smiled, she nodded, she typed notes during meetings. Nobody noticed that she understood, but rarely spoke. Then came the third week. Her manager asked her directly, "Maya, what do you think about this idea?" The whole room went quiet. 8 people around the table, all of them waiting. Maya felt her heart beat faster. She knew exactly what she thought. In her native language, she had a clear, intelligent opinion. But the moment she tried to say it in English, the translation machine in her brain started working, one word at a time, one grammar check at a time, and the silence grew longer and longer. Finally, she said, "I think it is a good idea." She sat back. She felt embarrassed, not because her English was wrong, but because she knew, she had so much more to say. After the meeting, she sat alone, and she asked herself a question she had been avoiding for years. Why can't I think so clearly in my language? But the moment I open my mouth in English, I become a different person? That question, my friend, is the most important question any English learner can ask. And today, we are going to answer it. So why does this happen? Why does your brain refuse to think directly in English? The answer is one word: habit. Your brain is not broken. Your brain is actually working perfectly. It is doing exactly what it was trained to do. And what was it trained to do? Think in your native language first. Every single day of your life since the moment you were born, your brain has practiced thinking in one language. Thousands of hours, millions of sentences. It became effortless. It became automatic. It became times you, and then one day someone said, "Now think in English." And your brain said, "Wait, I do not know how to do that yet." Because the brain does not switch languages. It builds new pathways. Think about it like this. Imagine your native language is a wide, smooth highway. Thousands of cars moving fast. No traffic, no stops. And English, right now, is a small dirt road. When you need to get somewhere fast, your brain takes the highway every time, because that is the fastest route. The only way to change that is to use the dirt road again and again every day until slowly it becomes smoother, until the cars start moving faster, until one day it feels like a real road. That is exactly how your brain builds a new thinking language. Not through memorizing, not through translating, through using it directly, repeatedly, daily. Now, here is the part that changes everything. Because knowing times why times the problem exists is not enough. You need to know times what to do. And I am going to give you something real, not theory, not 10 complicated steps. 3 specific things you can start doing today. Not tomorrow, today. When you wake up tomorrow morning, before you check your phone, before you have breakfast, before you say a single word to anyone, look around your room and start naming what you see in English. Not translating, not thinking of the word in your language first. Just look at the object and say the English word directly. Pillow, window, light, phone, cup, door. This sounds too simple, I know. But do not underestimate it. Because what you are doing in that moment is building a direct connection. Object, English word. No translation in the middle. You are training your brain to reach for English first. Not your native language first. Start with objects. Then move to actions. I am standing up. I am walking to the bathroom. I am making coffee. Simple sentences, real moments. This is not an exercise. This is your morning. You are just narrating it in English. Do this for 5 minutes every morning, and slowly something shifts. English stops being a subject you study. It starts being a language you live in. Remember the highway and the dirt road? Every time you catch yourself translating, that is a golden moment. Most people feel frustrated when they catch themselves translating. They think, I did it wrong again. But I want you to think about it differently. Every time you notice the translation happening, you are becoming aware of your own brain. And awareness is the first step to change. So here is what you do. The next time your brain wants to translate, pause, take a breath, and try to find even a simple Times English version of the thought. It does not have to be perfect. It does not have to be the exact words you wanted. Maybe you wanted to say, I feel overwhelmed with work today. But you can only find, I have too much work. I feel bad. Say that. Simple is not weak. Simple is progress. Because here is the truth. Fluent speakers, even native speakers, do not always find the perfect word. They find a times word. And they keep going. That is fluency. Not perfect words. Continuous movement. This is the most powerful one. And also the one most people never do. Every day find 5 minutes when you are completely alone. Maybe in the shower. Maybe on a walk. Maybe in your room before you sleep. And just talk in English out loud. Talk about your day. Talk about how you're feeling. Talk about something that made you laugh. Talk about a problem you're thinking about. Nobody's listening. Nobody is grading you. Nobody's correcting you. It will feel strange at first. I promise you that. You will stop mid-sentence. You will forget words. You will say the same simple words again and again. That is fine. That is exactly right. Because what you are training is not vocabulary. What you are training is the times habit of thinking out loud in English. Remember Maya? After that meeting, the one where she froze, she decided to try something. Every evening, she sat in her room alone, and she talked to herself in English for 5 minutes. No phone, no mirror, no audience. Just her voice, moving in English. The first day was painful. Lots of stopping. Lots of moments where the English word would not come. But she kept going. Day 2, day 3. By day 10, something small changed. Her sentences started connecting. By day 1 thought leading to another. She noticed that in her morning shower, she was already thinking in English. Without trying, without forcing it. It just happened. Because that is how the brain works. You do not decide times to think in a new language. You practice times until it becomes natural. And natural takes time. But it does not take forever. It takes consistency. I want to say something important now. Something I wish someone had told me earlier. The reason most people never learn to think in English is not because they are not smart enough. It is not because they started too late. It is not because their native language is too different. The reason is fear. Fear of sounding stupid. Fear of making mistakes in front of others. Fear of being judged. And because of that fear, they wait. They wait until their English is better. They wait until they feel ready. They wait for the perfect moment to start speaking. But that moment never comes. Because you do not get ready first and then speak. You speak first. And that is how you get ready. Think about how you learn to walk. Did you study walking before you stood up? Did you understand balance perfectly before you took your first step? No. You stood up. You fell. You stood up again. And one day, without any announcement, you were walking. Your English brain works the same way. You do not wait to be fluent. You start speaking. You make mistakes. You notice the mistakes. You improve. That is the only path. There is no shortcut. But the path is not as long as you think. Let me paint you a picture. 90 days from now, you have been labeling your word every morning. You have been catching the translation moments. You have been talking to yourself for 5 minutes every night. What changes? First, the freezing becomes less. That blank wall, the one that appears every time someone asks you a question, it starts to have a door in it. Then, you start finishing sentences. Not perfect sentences, but complete ones. Then, something happens that surprises you. You are in the middle of a conversation, and suddenly you realize you are not translating anymore. The English is just coming. Not perfectly, not like a native speaker, but time's coming, freely, naturally, yours. That feeling the first time English moves through you without stopping, that feeling is worth everything. And it is waiting for you. Not at the end of a long, difficult road, but just 90 days ahead. If you start today, not tomorrow, today. Before I go, I want to leave you with one last thought. You are not someone who cannot think in English. You are someone whose brain has not yet built that highway. And that is a completely different thing. One is permanent. The other is just a matter of time and practice. Your brain is not broken. Your brain is not slow. Your brain is simply waiting for you to give it permission to try. So tonight, just tonight, pick 5 minutes. Go somewhere alone and talk about anything, about your day, about this podcast, about what you want to eat tomorrow. Just talk in English out loud. That is the first brick on your new highway. 1 brick today, 1 brick tomorrow. And slowly, without you even noticing, a road will appear. Thank you for listening to Pure English Podcast. If this episode helped you even a little, share it with someone who is also fighting this same battle. Because they need to hear this too. And I will see you in the next episode.